Today we're going to talk about what may be the most underrated breed for the urban homestead. So a large percentage of people who watch homesteading videos are watching because they're trying to learn, not because they actually have the property and the animals, but because they're looking for something in the future. And I am one of those people. I cannot homestead the way that I want to on the property that I'm on now, but we really don't have the money to facilitate going and buying something different right now. So I have to work with what I have. And in that, I may have accidentally stumbled across one of the best breeds of chickens for an urban homestead. Now you may be asking yourself, what breed of chicken am I talking about? I am talking about the Old English Bantam chicken. This is a rooster. This is a silver duckwing rooster. This happens to be my favorite breed. And this one is the hen. They're both full size. This is big as these chickens get. We'll let Tinky stand here. Tinky's pretty tame. Archimedes, not so much. He's not as friendly. Whew. But I like these birds for several reasons, and we will go over that right now. You ready? Woo! So while I live out in the country, I also live in a subdivision. So I had to come up with a breed of chicken that was not intrusive and not as obvious that I have chickens. And if you want to know about that, you can click on the link that I'm going to put up here somewhere, one side or the other, not sure. Reason number one, they're really small. You can fit more of these birds into a smaller space than you can the traditional heritage breed bird. So therefore, you can have a larger flock with less space. Reason number two is the fact that these guys are prolific egg layers. I've had black Australorps. I have had the Buff Orpington. I have had Rhode Island Reds. I've had black sex links. And these chickens lay just as well as those guys. Now you may be asking yourself, but what about the size of the egg? Smaller chicken, smaller egg. And while this may be true, this is a average size chicken egg. It's actually a fake egg that I use for their nesting box. Is that not the most adorable thing? That was gonna be number three, is they have a teeny tiny crow. So if you have close neighbors, it's not obnoxious. Now that's a full-size rooster crowing. So I guess we'll move on to number three. That's number three. They have a small crow. Okay, so this is a typical size. This is a typical size chicken egg, and this is the eggs that they lay. Not a huge size difference, but it's enough that it wards some people off, and they're like, I don't know. But if you're working with a small space, it's worth it. So reason number three, obviously you just heard, was the fact that they have a smaller crow. So if you live closer to people, closer to neighbors, if you've ever heard a real big rooster in real life, it's ridiculously loud. It can be heard over a large space of area. But these guys, even though he's crowing, his crow is not that loud. I'm less than 5 feet away from him, and that's as loud as it gets. If I'm standing on my front porch, I can barely hear him, and my front porch is about 200 feet away. So if you live in a smaller congested area, this rooster is not going to disturb people the way a traditional rooster would. Reason number four is that they don't eat as much as a large chicken. Large chickens end up eating a lot by comparison. Of course, they eat food scraps. These guys will eat food scraps. They're the exact same as a traditional chicken. It's just tiny. Number five, they're really easy to handle. They're so little. Even little kids can handle these guys. And even if a rooster does get aggressive, I mean, he's this big, like he can't do that kind of damage. Now for the negatives. Con number one would be the fact that they're kind of hard to keep protected, because if you think everything likes to eat a big chicken, imagine what everything wants to do to a little chicken. Even small predators can take these guys on. And the roosters, because they are so small, they can't really ward off much of anything. So traditionally, these guys are kept in small coops, runs. You cannot free range chickens. But if you're living in an urban, suburban area, you're probably not wanting to free range them anyway. So is it really a con? Con number two, these guys are not the best for sustainability. And the reason that they're not good for sustainability is because if they need to be butchered, if you have excess roosters, there's not that much meat. Like, you're gonna butcher this little bitty thing and it's not much meat. But the same could be said for quail. Quail are tiny, but people still raise them and eat them. So it's kind of still not a con. So another con to getting these chickens is the fact that they're kind of harder to find. If you're wanting the typical Buff Orpington or Rhode Island Red, you can go to any store and find them. You can go on any website. Any farmer down the road is going to have them. But these guys are a little bit more tricky to find. The Old English, typically, there are some that you can get on places like My Pet Chicken, things like that. You can find them there. They also can be a little pricey because they are harder to find. So I was going to tell you of another con, but I really couldn't think of another one. There you have it. That is why I believe that the Old English Bantam Bird is the best chicken for a small urban suburban homestead. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Go down in the description below. You can follow us on all of our social media links. And don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a trinket video. So love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye, Tinky. Say bye. Bye, guys.